Eurydice's reflection, POV. I remember the sun, its warmth on my skin, the golden light filtering through the trees. I remember the way the earth felt beneath my feet as I wandered through the meadow, my heart light with the promise of love. Orpheus was waiting for me, his music already drifting through the air, drawing me toward him. He could charm the gods themselves with his melodies, but it was his smile that held me captive. I was his, and he was mine. But then came the serpent. The bite was quick, a flash of pain so sharp that it stole my breath. I felt the earth cool against my skin as the world dimmed around me. I called out to him, my voice weak, but I knew he would come. He always came. Yet this time it was too late. Death claimed me, swift and unrelenting, and I was plunged into darkness. The underworld was not as I had imagined. It was neither fire nor torment, but a vast emptiness, a place of endless shadows and muted whispers. Souls drifted like leaves caught in a still wind, their faces blank and their eyes devoid of light. I felt the pull of his music. It reached me here, faint and distant, a thread of gold in an endless sea of grey. When I saw him again, it was as though my soul had been reignited. Orpheus had come for me, braving the underworld itself to bring me back. I watched him as he played before Hades and Persephone, his music so raw and beautiful that even the lifeless seemed to stir. He sang of our love, of the life we shared and the future we had dreamed of. His words were a promise, a plea, and I felt the weight of them in my chest. When Hades granted his request, I dared to hope. I would follow him back to the world of the living, step by careful step, until we were free of this place. The condition was clear. He could not look back until we both stood beneath the sun. It seemed simple, but as we began our ascent, I felt the weight of doubt settle over us like a shroud. I walked behind him silent and unseen, my steps echoing his. The path was steep and treacherous, the air growing warmer with every step. I longed to call out to him, to tell him I was here, but the words caught in my throat. Did he feel my presence? Did he trust that I was following? I saw the tension in his shoulders, the way his hand gripped the lyre, as though it were the only thing keeping him steady. The closer we came to the surface, the more his pace quickened, as though he could outrun his fear. I wanted to comfort him, to reach out and touch his hand, but I knew I could not. This was a trial of faith, and faith required silence. The light grew brighter, the air sweeter. We were so close. I could feel the sun on my skin, hear the distant hum of life. Freedom was within reach. But then he stopped. Orpheus, no, I whispered, though I knew he could not hear me. He turned. Our eyes met, and in that moment, I saw the love and sorrow that filled him. His face was etched with relief and despair, a mixture of joy and regret. I tried to reach for him, but the force of the underworld pulled me back, cold and unyielding. I screamed his name as the shadows consumed me, my heart breaking for both of us. Now I wander the underworld once more, my steps lighter than before but no less lonely. I carry the memory of him with me, his music still echoing in my mind. He will sing of me, I know, his songs filled with the grief of our parting, and though I am lost to him, I take solace in knowing that he loved me enough to defy the gods themselves. Time in the underworld is an enigma. Days blend into nights, and the measure of moments becomes meaningless. Yet, in this shadowed realm, I have come to see the echoes of other stories, other souls whose lives have been touched by love and tragedy. I find myself wondering if their stories ended as abruptly as ours, if they too wandered the afterlife carrying the weight of what might have been. Sometimes I sit by the river Lethe, watching as souls come to drink and forget their earthly sorrows. I wonder what it would be like to surrender my memories, to let go of the pain and the joy of loving Orpheus. But I cannot. To forget him would be to lose the essence of who I am. He is my tether, even now, and I hold on to him as fiercely as I hold on to myself. There are moments when I feel his music again, faint but unmistakable. The underworld itself seems to pause when his songs reach these depths, as though even the realm of the dead cannot ignore the power of his grief. It is in these moments that I feel closest to him, as though the boundary between life and death is but a veil that his music can pierce. I want to tell him that I hear him, that his love reaches me even here. But I can only hope that he knows. I wonder if he will find peace, or if he will spend the rest of his days haunted by our story. Perhaps one day, when his time comes, we will meet again. Perhaps then, there will be no gods to separate us, no trials to test our faith. Until that day, I remain here, a shadow in the land of shadows, my heart forever tethered to the memory of what we once were. I am Eurydice, and my story is one of love and loss, of faith and despair. I was his muse, his wife, his reason to hope. Though the fates tore us apart, I remain bound to him by the melody of our love, eternal and unbroken. Even in the silence of the underworld, I carry our song within me, waiting for the day when we might sing it together once more.